Like, it's
Who gives you back
horrendous,
the time? Who gives you back the time? This is one of the
right?
things that people don't understand. Like, who gives you back that time? So
Yeah.
for that part, and you know what the worst part of it all is, as Ron, even if you're found that you were innocent and they lied, people unfortunately will always say, well, there must be something there, because if they convicted her in the first place, there must be something there. So you can never shake that off.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
No, serious.
If
You know,
her,
like people say, well,
well, here's the prime thing. She's been convicted. People don't believe it. There's evidence coming out. If she was to come out and be vindicated, it's going to be a 50-50 split. It's never going to be the same reality because we're talking about babies, you know?
yes. Yes, that's the thing, you know, because you know what? Because it's babies. You know how I am with this shit. Well, sorry,
Yeah,
with this
that's all right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I am very, very against it, and I was hating this woman so much.
Mhm.
I even thought at one point very, very wrongly,
Yeah.
oh, this woman shouldn't even be given a trial. She should just
Right?
not make it to trial.
It's
You know
because
what I
it's
mean,
so
right?
triggering. And do you know what? And again, last
Yeah.
thing I'm going to say from this
How's Nova, by
objective
the way?
side.
How's Nova, by the way?
Oh, Nova's
By the way,
awesome.
how's Nova?
Nova's great, man. She is
Well, you haven't
awesome.
sent me more videos.
Oh,
I don't know what I've done that you don't send me more
I'll
videos.
send you more. It's honestly, the last 3 weeks have just been a crazy madness, man. But
Okay. But you're a father. Can you imagine how we react as parents? You know, especially infants, baby
yeah,
infants. It's sick. I was so angry at this woman. I really, it wasn't hard for me to hate her and to believe what they were saying. And that is a huge problem.
yeah,
But now that this expert has come out, and when I found out who it was, I went like, fuck up the truck, buddy boy. What the F?
yeah.
Because I worked in a hospital, and I can tell you that hospital hides stuff.
Oh yeah. Well,
Hospitals
listen,
hide stuff.
listen. I live in a country where the hospitals are so disgusting. A superbug manifested in our hospitals that just took you out the game. I can't remember what it was called. Like it began with an M, I think, and it was known as the hospital superbug. And if you were over 70 in the UK and you went into hospital overnight, there's a good chance that something bad could happen. And it's crazy. And it's and again, look, Paula, do you know what? I'm going to get back to reading this, right? But I'll message you when I do the next update on this.
Yeah, no,
Because
sir. I just wanted to come and say hi to you, and that I do listen to you, buddy. You know,
Yeah.
I know, and I'm not always commenting, but I do listen to you always.
No, thanks, Paula. Well, look, I love you lots, and
people, and I'm gonna continue listening and go back to your show. Sorry to interrupt.
no, listen, you can interrupt anytime you want, Paula. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll speak to you soon, my G.
Bye, sweetie.
All right. So it's interesting when you look at these things from the angles that are being presented now with these medical reports. Now, let me just check something. In fact, no, we're not going to check something. We're just going to do the. Hang on a minute. Hang on a second. I've just had a horrible thought about. I think somebody's yes, scheduled. Okay, good. Right. So I need to set that up in the back end for our wonderful Beverly Rhodes so that all of you wonderful viewers get pushed over to her show. And then I'm back at, I can't remember. We're not ending the show right now, just so you know. But I'm just getting that set up. So it goes this show, Beverly's show. Then I think it's Sean's on for a show, and then me and Sean have a show later on this evening where I think we're doing a big call-in on Diddy, and a whole bunch of other people. Anyway, so where have you guys gone? You're here, right? Please look at the expert witnesses. Okay, so look, today we're just going to try and rattle through all of this. Not all of this, but we're going to. So the author said, our insatiable conclusion is that the evidence significantly undermines the validity of assertions made by the insulin and C-peptide testing presented in court. Speaking of, like, I'm not being funny. If you've got, in fact, no, we're just going to read this and be quiet. Speaking of both reports, Mr. McDonald said the fresh evidence totally undermines the prosecution case at trial. This is the largest international review of neonatal medicine ever undertaken, the results of which show Lucy Letby's convictions are no longer safe. The conclusion of the report on babies F and L clearly demonstrate that the case must go back to court and appeal as a matter of urgency. We might all have to swallow a tough pill. We might have to swallow a tough pill here, people, because why do you feel like you have the right to ignore that? What is it we think that gives us the right to ignore this, not just as a person, but from a country and from a legal system? Is this not the very definition of justice? Or not? I don't know. I'm just saying. So the CCRC will review the application and decide whether to refer her case back to the Court of Appeal. Letby has already lost 2 bids last year in challenge of her conviction. So the gist of this report is medical experts, top of their game, largest ever investigation into this ever. What I'm going to do this now is just balance it out, just in case we run out of time. All right, and we'll see what the establishment have said in reaction to this. The top. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We're going to. Do you know when you see like #1 pizza in the country? Who decided that? Like, who gave you the #1 pizza definition? So we've got the top police officers, we've got the top investigators, all wearing top hats at the top of a set of ladders, toppling over this case, right? The top police officers investigating serial unaliver Lucy Letby today hit back at ill-informed medical experts. You might be the top of your game in your field. Poof, not to this copper. Okay. And insensitive critics questioning her guilt. It's a strongly worded statement. Detective Superintendent Paul Hughes insisted the former neonatal nurse's case has been rigorously and fairly tested by 2 juries and 2 sets of appeal court judges, painstakingly and complex 6-year police investigation. Yet still his inquiry, the judicial process and the medical experts who gave evidence at the former neonatal nurse's trial are being scrutinized by ill-informed critics with very partial knowledge of the facts and evidence. I'm sorry. He must be referring to people on Twitter here, right? Or is he referring to the global panel of experts as this? He must be referring to people on Twitter, right? Serious. Mr. Hughes made the unprecedented intervention as Letby's barrister, Mark McDonald, announced that tomorrow he will be personally handling and deliver 2 expert reports that he believes will exonerate her to the Criminal Cases Review Commission. So, hang on a second. So I imagine this guy, that was on the 2nd. And when did this come out? This was 2 days ago this came out. So this was the 3rd. So this report came out the day before this report. So this copper hasn't heard what this guy said at this point. Can we get to the top people? I have got a Julia episode that is being put together. I was meant to have a conversation with Julia today. It never happened because of something that happened at my end. But yeah, it's coming. Don't worry. See, I could do a Julia episode every day, but if I don't have anything, I suppose what you guys are meaning is just keep the name going, right? Keep the story in the light. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It's not about new topics. It's just about keeping the story in the paper, in the light. Yeah, okay, I hear you. 100%. Right, what was I doing? Over here. In a strong, okay, yeah, yet still his inquiry, the judicial process, and medical experts who gave evidence to the former neonatal nurse's trial are being scrutinized by ill-informed critics and partial knowledge of the facts, totally of the evidence, and senior officer said. Mr. Hughes made the unprecedented intervention as Letby's barrister Mark McDonald announced tomorrow he will personally. Blah, blah, blah. Mr. McDonald claims that the fresh evidence demonstrates her convictions are no longer safe and has urged the CCRC, the body that investigates miscarriages of justice, to refer her case to the Court of Appeal without an undue delay. Mr. Hughes said that in Cheshire Police have chosen not to enter into the public debate about Letby's convictions for the sake of the families of the babies who are unalived and harmed, who are at the very heart of this. Justice is at the very heart of this, Mr. Copper. What are you talking about? Manipulative statement. Of course, everybody feels for the parents of the children that have been unalived. Moron. But you cannot allow your personal attachment stand in the way of actual justice being served. Moron. He said that they had experienced a decade of trauma and grief and have spoken movingly at the close of the public inquiry into Letby's crimes earlier this month about the significant impact the case continues to have upon them. Yeah. Especially if there is reason to believe they got it all wrong. How horrific is that going to be, Mr. Policeman, if you got it all wrong and you've got to drag them through another decade of this? It's kind of important you get it right the first time, if indeed you did or did not. Mad. Although Mr. Hughes said everyone is entitled to an opinion, no, everyone is entitled to an opinion, trust me. He insisted the family's voices must not be lost in a sea of noises. Okay, the family's voices should absolutely not be lost in a sea of noises. I completely agree. Has nothing to do with justice, though. Has nothing to do with this process. Okay, but free speech should never be affected. Their dignity and composure in the face of intense public discussion with little sensitivity or humanity is remarkable, he said. Their words are incredibly honest and powerful and must not be lost in a sea of noises. I agree. I wish I lived in a country where I could trust the governments, the police, and the courts. 100%. Kind of, though, I'll be honest. This is the stuff that I'm reading that makes sense to me. I'm evil. I did this. Okay. Thanks, Lucy, for clearing that up for us. That real helps. Let's have a look at some other stuff that Lucy wrote, allegedly. Because none of this looks like the ramblings of a lunatic at all. At all. Now, were some of these not... Was she not asked to write some of these things? Was there not a rumor that apparently she was told to imagine she did this for therapy and to write it all out and blah, 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 blah? Was that not a thing? I don't know. I need to look into it again. I mean, this is like... I mean, what is this? This looks like you've handed in your work to the teacher and then the teachers just went over it in her like red pen of freaking spell checking. So shocking how similar her handwriting is to mine. Oh, good. Arranged by her work. Okay, thank you. How is this helpful therapy? How is it helpful therapy? Hang on a second. What? Hang on a second. Good question, Fifi. Where's Fifi? Where's Fifi? How is that helpful therapy? Oh, this, you mean? Okay, sorry, Fifi. God damn it. I don't know if that was a therapy thing. I'm just talking out loud, trying to recall where these notes came from. I could be wrong about the notes. Because I may be remembering a bunch of crap when it comes to these notes, but I'm sure all I was saying, right? All I was saying is if you if you were a nurse, right, who's been arrested and like let's just imagine like this Pokemon card is a piece of paper, right? And my arm is a table, right? And you're on that side, and I go, so just for fun, could you just confess to all of this? But do it from the mindset if you did actually do this. Who does that? Like who's gonna go, okay? No one's gonna do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But maybe they are. Maybe they are, Ron. Maybe they trust it. I don't know. We need to find out where these notes came from. Someone can tell me in the side chat. Someone will know. But unless do you think someone could have convinced her that she did do it? I know that sounds stupid, right? But if we look at all of the mankiness that's been reported and the terrible medical service that's allegedly been going on, could you not, as a nurse, be convinced that you had done this? Like, do you think that's possible? And not from a serial unaliver point of view, from a, I've been convinced that I have done a terrible thing I didn't even realize I was doing, but because I'm the nurse, I should have been aware of it. Could it be that? I mean, is that a thing? If Uber, you're saying yes to me, then okay, interesting. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. If you're held for months in interrogation, I think you convince that something is green is yellow. That's a bloody good point. Recently, a friend of ours was stuck in a jail cell for 3 days, and the story that she came out with, and she's just a normal lady. She's like a normal lady, right? Like a normal lady, no horrible crimes or anything like that, slapped in there. And her the way that she reported to be treated was shocking, right? And she hadn't done anything to any babies. Do you know what I mean? So you can imagine the stigma of going in there. It's interesting, right? Like it's interesting. I'm not saying that's what's happened. I'm not saying that she is innocent or isn't innocent. I'm just saying this guy, in fact, do you know what? Who is this guy? Let's get some names here. And don't just keep telling me the medics. Who are these people? Who are these people? International expert panel. Oh man. That looks like, when you're like 6 or 7 years old and you're coming up with a plan, like the Home Alone plan, right? Dwight Schrute's plan. Do you know what I'm saying? International expert panel. And then you've got a stock image of some guys walking. Please tell me this is not what they handed in, right? Like this is somebody's made this, right? Somebody's made